I would say almost half of it now is content that's like sub 5 minutes. Well, and because the completion rate on that video is so high, the click rate through is so high because it's such a short video as well. Like there's a huge demand for this quicker content that I think people are just getting used to with some of the other platforms. And if the demand is kind of changing of what people are even doing, then the algorithm is going to shift towards that in terms of being able to match the type of content of what people are watching.
YouTube lays out their 2021 priorities, and the future looks good. YouTube's partner program has doubled since the previous year, and over the last 3 years have paid out $30 billion to creators. This year, they're looking to raise the bar. Here are 4 areas that may be impactful for you. Education. YouTube's goal is to double the number of users who engage with educational content on YouTube. Mobile. YouTube Shorts player is hitting 3.5 billion daily views and will be expanding development. E-commerce. 70% of people bought from a brand after seeing it on YouTube, so YouTube is testing a beta program for beauty and electronic creators to help people discover and buy what they see in their videos. Living Room. YouTube's Living Room app will be getting a lot of financial investment to improve user experience and ease of advertising integration. An additional $1 trillion will go towards animal sneezing content creation. How does YouTube's 2021 priorities line up with your 2021 content strategy?
Personally, I think the big investment in sneezing content's great. I think if they could get more pandas into the mix, those are some of my favorites. And great job, you two. Keep it up.
The QA process is really weak on this. I'm just kidding. What a lot to unpack, though.
Yeah.
YouTube on fire on a lot of fronts and really had an incredible 2 years, really. I mean, they doubled the content consumption and the paid out. It's hard to think about the scale of YouTube, but they paid out over $30 billion to creators over the last 3 years. That is a lot of dollar bills.
You know, going back to MKBHD's point earlier of 50% of his revenue comes from sponsor integrations. Only 40% even came from YouTube AdSense. So it's like, you got to imagine that's even more when it comes to, you know, that's just through YouTube ad revenue, right? So it's like, there's a lot of potential there. And even the different areas of where YouTube's wanting to expand. I've seen a little bit about these YouTube shorts. Chat, I'm curious if you guys have seen any of these things popping up on your feed.
0.5 billion daily views. I know they started out in India and it got really popular in India, and now it's kind of coming west. Have you tried it out yet?
I have not. I don't exactly understand how to even do it yet. I know they've got like the Instagram or like the stories kind of equivalent thing, and I've tested that a little bit and I didn't find a good use for it quite yet for my content. And they've got like polls. They're trying to really lean in on the community side. So I've tried some regular posts sharing content through the community tab. I don't know if it's something that's just not fully rolled out yet, or what the best way is to do it.
Is Shorts a new name for Stories or no?
I don't know. I mean, I was going through on YouTube, and the only thing I've seen are the stories type things, which maybe that is the shorts. I thought they would be a little bit longer, but those like last a week and then they disappear. So I feel like this is something that's different, and to my understanding is more of like trying to get into the space of this really short content that is challenging TikTok and some of these shorter consumer bites, which even, you know, even I noticed this, if you just go to even your feed and look at some of the content that pops up, even just on the homepage on YouTube, at least for me, like a lot of it is, I would say almost half of it now is content that's like sub 5 minutes, which is really interesting because typically YouTube is more of like a 10, 20-minute time window in terms of what the length of videos are. But there's been a lot more content that is much shorter form that even was from like 10 years ago that's popping up of like some crazy little short snippet, even if it's like 30 seconds or a minute. And I've even seen some creators even look at like Jake Paul, who's been creating content that's literally like 30 seconds or 1 minute of just unedited video of him talking about something that he knows will go super viral. And because the completion rate on that video is so high, the click rate through is so high because it's such a short video as well. Like there's a huge demand for this quicker content that I think people are just getting used to with some of the other platforms that is now becoming a window and an opportunity for people on YouTube. And I think they're starting to shift a little bit more towards that as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about just trends, like we always go through these different trends in terms of what content resonates with, different people. Like you got radio, TV, podcasts, reading, audiobooks. Like there's all these different kind of trends that happen, and we've really seen a lot of like TikTok has obviously blown up, and the stories format has blown up. But I think it's just pointing towards an evolution of how people like to consume media generally, and I think YouTube's recognizing that and putting their foot in the game because they're the number one video platform in the world. So I think they're seeing this behavior change and starting to get into it.
Right, Rivalont says you need to have hashtag shorts in the title um, for it, and I think I actually have seen that as well. But it is interesting too because it's like, okay, well, is and I think this has always been something that I've been wrestling with. Obviously, creating content on YouTube, I've always had to wrestle with the algorithm in general. But it's like, is the algorithm a product of people changing some numbers and focusing on what is the most impactful? Yeah, to a degree, right? Like they want people to be on the platform as long as possible, but that's also the tendencies of the people that are actually watching the content as well, right? Like how are they reacting to the actual content? What is keeping people on the platform for longer and watching more content? It's like it is kind of both ends of that. And if the demand is kind of changing of what people are even doing, then the algorithm is going to shift towards that in terms of being able to match the type of content of what people are watching and will actually sit there for. If they're not going to sit there for a 15-minute video about something, or even if it's a tutorial, one of the things here, right, is like education is one of the big focuses. YouTube wants to double the number of users for education. Maybe that's the playlists and how people set that content up. Maybe it is going to be shorter form, quick couple minute content to where they can get straight to the point of what the content is that they want. Or maybe it's going to be long podcast form too. So it's like, but what is it that people are actually going to engage with? And are they going to watch maybe something for 3 hours going super deep on a topic from an actual expert who really knows about something for it? Or, what's going to be that piece for it?
I think definitely if you're starting up a YouTube channel, when we were actually taking our YouTube more serious on the pipeline side this year, we've not invested in it much, and we're going to invest a little more in it. And I think seeing things like shorts and these new mediums pop up, like start looking to take advantage of them. These teams at YouTube will be putting a lot of resources behind making them successful. So we're definitely going to check it out more